Imagine having a magic wand that could make all your money dreams come true. Sounds too good to be real, right? Well, what if I told you that you already have this power hidden deep inside your own mind? This isn't some fairy tale or get-rich-quick scheme. It's a powerful idea taught by a spiritual teacher named Neville Goddard. He showed us how to use our imagination to create the life we want, including becoming wealthy. Now you might be thinking, come on, how can just thinking make me rich? But hang on, because this is different from what you might expect. It's not about wishing on stars or repeating positive words. It's about changing who you are on the inside in a way that can transform your whole life. Here's the thing. If we don't learn how to use this inner power, we might always have money problems. We could keep struggling to pay bills, feeling stressed about our jobs, or worrying about our future. But there's a catch. To make this work, we need to do something that can feel pretty scary. We need to face our own fears and doubts about money. That means looking at all those negative thoughts we have about wealth and success, and that's not always easy. It's like cleaning out a really messy closet. It can be uncomfortable, but it's worth it in the end. So, are you ready to take on this challenge? Are you willing to look at your own thoughts and feelings about money in a new way? Before we dive deeper into this idea, let's talk about the man behind it. Neville Goddard wasn't some fancy businessman or financial expert. He was a spiritual teacher who lived from 1905 to 1972. Goddard grew up in Barbados, but spent most of his adult life in the United States. What made him special was his unique take on how our minds shape our lives. He didn't just talk about positive thinking or setting goals. Instead, Goddard taught that our imagination is incredibly powerful, so powerful that it actually creates our reality. Now that might sound a bit out there, but stick with me. Goddard believed that the world we see around us is really just a reflection of what's going on inside our minds. He said that our thoughts, feelings, and especially our imagination are the real creators of our life experiences. This idea was pretty revolutionary at the time, and it's still powerful today. Goddard taught this through lectures and books, explaining how people could use their imagination to change their lives. He wasn't just talking about daydreaming or wishful thinking. He was talking about a deep, focused use of imagination that he believed could actually reshape reality. One of the coolest things about Goddard's teachings is that he applied them to all areas of life, including money and success. He taught that if we want to be wealthy, we need to first create that wealth in our minds. It's like we're planting a seed in our imagination and then watching it grow into reality. But how exactly does this work? Well, Goddard said that our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what we vividly imagine. So when we picture ourselves as wealthy and truly feel like we already have that wealth, our subconscious starts to make it happen in real life. It's like we're giving our mind a blueprint, and it works to make that blueprint a reality. Now you might be thinking, this sounds too simple. If it was this easy, wouldn't everyone be rich? And you're right. It's not as simple as just thinking I'm rich once and then waiting for money to fall from the sky. Goddard taught that this takes practice, persistence, and a real shift in how we see ourselves and the world. It's not always easy, but he believed it was the key to creating the life we want. Goddard's ideas might seem a bit strange at first, but they've had a big impact. Many successful people have used similar ideas to achieve their goals, and even if you're skeptical, there's something powerful about learning to use your imagination in a more focused way. In the next parts of this video, we're going to break down how you can use Goddard's teachings to start manifesting wealth in your own life. We'll look at specific techniques he taught, common obstacles you might face, and how to stay consistent with this practice. Remember, this isn't about getting rich overnight. It's about changing your relationship with money from the inside out. Are you ready to learn how to use your imagination to create wealth? Let's dive in. Now that we know a bit about Neville Goddard, let's dive into how his ideas can help us create wealth. At the heart of Goddard's teaching is the power of imagination. But we're not talking about just any kind of imagination here. We're talking about using your imagination in a special way to create the financial life you want. Think about it like this. Have you ever had a vivid dream that felt so real? You woke up feeling like it actually happened? That's the kind of powerful imagination Goddard was talking about. He believed we could use this same ability while we're awake to shape our real lives, including our financial situation. So how does this work with money? Well, Goddard taught that if we want to be rich, we need to imagine ourselves as already wealthy. It's like we're actors playing a role, but the role is our ideal wealthy self. We need to see ourselves living the life of a wealthy person, feeling the emotions of having plenty of money and acting as if we already have all the wealth we desire. Now you might be thinking, but I'm not rich now. How can I pretend to be something I'm not? That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of why this can be challenging. Goddard would say that you're not pretending. You're actually tapping into a deeper truth. He believed that in our imagination, we can access any reality we want, and by fully experiencing that reality in our minds, we start to bring it into our physical world. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you want to have $1 million in your bank account. Instead of focusing on the fact that you don't have that money right now, Goddard would tell you to close your eyes and vividly imagine checking your bank balance and seeing that $1 million there. Feel the excitement, the relief, the sense of security that comes with having that money. Imagine how you would walk, talk, and make decisions if you had that kind of wealth. The key here is to make it as real as possible in your mind. What would you do differently if you had that $1 million? How would you feel when you wake up in the morning? What kind of house would you live in? What kind of car would you drive? Really let yourself experience all of this in your imagination. Now, this might feel silly at first. You might hear a voice in your head saying, "This is ridiculous. I'm just pretending." But Goddard would say that this voice is just your old beliefs trying to hold you back. The more you practice this kind of vivid imagination, the more natural it will start to feel. But here's where it gets really interesting. Goddard taught that it's not enough to just picture these things. You need to feel them too. He said that feeling is the secret. When you imagine your wealthy life, try to really feel the emotions that go with it. Feel the joy of financial freedom. Feel the confidence of knowing you can afford what you want. Feel the generosity of being able to help others with your wealth. This feeling part is crucial because, according to Goddard, it's our feelings that really attract experiences to us. When we combine clear mental images with strong, positive feelings, we're sending a powerful message to our subconscious mind. And remember, Goddard believed that our subconscious mind is the real creator of our reality. Now, you might be wondering, do I have to do this all day long? Not at all. Goddard often recommended doing this kind of focused imagination right before you fall asleep at night or right when you wake up in the morning. These are times when your mind is more relaxed and open to new ideas. Even just a few minutes of this kind of vivid, feeling-filled imagination can be powerful. But here's an important point. This isn't about escaping reality or ignoring your current financial situation. It's about creating a new inner reality that will gradually reshape your outer world. You still need to take care of your current responsibilities and make smart financial decisions. The difference is that you're doing these things from a new mindset, the mindset of someone who knows that wealth is on its way. As you practice this, you might start to notice small changes. Maybe you'll have a new money-making idea. Or you might meet someone who can help you in your career. You might even find yourself making better financial decisions without really trying. These are all signs that your new inner reality is starting to affect your outer world. Remember, this takes time and practice. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results right away. Goddard taught that our outer world can take a while to catch up with our new inner reality. The key is to keep practicing, to keep feeling those feelings of wealth and abundance, even when your current circumstances don't match up yet. In the next section, we'll talk about how this inner change starts to create changes in your outer world. We'll explore Goddard's idea that our outer world is really just a reflection of our inner thoughts and feelings. This is where things start to get really exciting, so stay with me. Now that we've talked about using our imagination to create wealth, let's dive into one of Neville Goddard's most powerful ideas. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. This might sound a bit strange at first, but stick with me because understanding this can completely change how you approach creating wealth in your life. Goddard taught that everything we see and experience in our outer world, our job, our bank account, our relationships, even the opportunities that come our way, all of these are reflections of our inner thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. It's like the whole world is a giant mirror, showing us what's going on inside our minds. So, what does this mean when it comes to wealth? Well, if we feel poor inside, if we're always worrying about money and feeling like we never have enough, guess what? We'll see evidence of that poverty all around us. We might miss opportunities to make money, or we might find ourselves always struggling to make ends meet. It's not because the world is against us, but because we're creating that reality with our inner state. But here's the exciting part. If we change our inner world, if we start to feel wealthy and abundant inside, we'll start to see evidence of wealth and abundance in our outer world. We might suddenly notice new opportunities to make money. We might find that people are more willing to pay us what we're worth. We might even start to attract wealthy and successful people into our lives. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, are you saying that just by thinking differently, I can change my financial situation? And the answer is yes and no. It's not as simple as just thinking I'm rich and then magically becoming a millionaire overnight. But Goddard taught that changing our inner world is the first and most crucial step to changing our outer reality. Think of it like this. Have you ever been in a bad mood and it seemed like everything was going wrong that day? Maybe you spilled your coffee, got stuck in traffic, and had an argument with a friend. Then, on another day when you were in a great mood, everything seemed to go right. You found money in your pocket, got a compliment from your boss, and had a great time with your friends. According to Goddard, this isn't just coincidence, it's your inner state creating your outer experiences. The same principle applies to wealth. When we truly feel wealthy inside, we start to notice opportunities for wealth that we might have missed before. We might feel more confident asking for a raise, or we might get an idea for a successful business. It's not that these opportunities weren't there before, but our new inner state allows us to see and take advantage of them. But here's the tricky part. Changing your inner world isn't always easy. We often have deep-rooted beliefs about money that we've picked up throughout our lives. Maybe you grew up hearing that money is the root of all evil, or rich people are greedy. These beliefs can be like heavy weights, holding us back from creating the wealth we desire. So how do we change these inner beliefs? This is where Goddard's teachings about imagination come in. By regularly imagining ourselves as wealthy, by feeling the feelings of abundance and success, we slowly start to change those inner beliefs. It's like we're reprogramming our minds, replacing the old, limiting beliefs with new, empowering ones. Here's a practical way to start doing this. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to review your day as if you were already wealthy. Imagine that you made great financial decisions, that you earned a lot of money, that you felt completely secure and abundant. Really feel those feelings of wealth and success. Do this every night, and you'll start to notice changes in how you think and feel about money during your day. But remember, this isn't about ignoring reality or pretending that problems don't exist. If you have bills to pay or debts to handle, you still need to deal with those responsibly. The difference is that you're approaching these challenges from a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. You're dealing with your current situation while holding on to the inner, knowing that greater wealth is on its way. As you practice this, you might start to notice small changes in your outer world. Maybe you'll have a lucky break at work, or you'll find a great deal on something you need to buy. Pay attention to these small signs. They're evidence that your inner change is starting to affect your outer world. One important thing to remember is that this change doesn't usually happen overnight. Just like it takes time for a seed to grow into a tree, it takes time for our inner changes to fully manifest in our outer world. This is where many people give up, thinking that it's not working. But Goddard taught that persistence is key. Keep holding on to that inner feeling of wealth, even when your outer circumstances haven't caught up yet. In the next section, we'll talk more about the importance of feeling and how to make your inner experience of wealth as real and vivid as possible. This is a crucial part of Goddard's teachings, and it can make a big difference in how quickly and powerfully you manifest wealth in your life. So let's keep going and discover how to really bring those feelings of wealth to life inside you. The importance of feeling. Now that we understand how our inner world creates our outer world, let's dive into a crucial part of Neville Goddard's teachings: the importance of feeling. This isn't just about thinking positive thoughts or repeating affirmations. It's about truly feeling the emotions associated with wealth and abundance. Goddard taught that feeling is the secret to manifestation. It's not enough to just visualize being wealthy or to think about having lots of money. You need to feel it as if it's already real. This might sound a bit strange at first, but think about it this way. Our emotions are incredibly powerful. They can influence our actions, our decisions, and even our physical bodies. Goddard believed that they could also influence our reality. So how do we apply this to manifesting wealth? It starts with using your imagination in a very specific way. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in a scenario where you're already wealthy. Maybe you're sitting in a beautiful home, or maybe you're looking at a bank statement with a huge balance. But don't just see it. Feel it. Feel the comfort of financial security. Feel the excitement of being able to afford anything you want. Feel the generosity of being able to help others with your wealth. The key here is to make these feelings as real and vivid as possible. Don't just think, "I am wealthy." Really feel what it's like to be wealthy. How does your body feel? Are your shoulders more relaxed because you don't have financial stress? Do you feel a warm glow of satisfaction in your chest? Does a smile naturally come to your face? This might take some practice at first. We're so used to feeling our current financial reality that it can be challenging to truly feel a different one. But the more you practice, the easier it becomes. You might find it helpful to use all your senses in this imagination exercise. What does your wealthy life look like? What sounds do you hear? Maybe the sound of waves if you're imagining a beach house. What smells are around you? Maybe the leather interior of a luxury car. Remember, the goal isn't to escape reality or to pretend. It's to create such a vivid inner experience that your subconscious mind begins to accept it as real. When this happens, according to Goddard, your subconscious will start to work on making this inner reality your outer reality too. One powerful technique Goddard taught was to do this feeling exercise right before you fall asleep at night. He believed that the moments before sleep were especially powerful for impressing new ideas on our subconscious mind. So as you're lying in bed, bring up those feelings of wealth and abundance. Feel them as strongly as you can as you drift off to sleep. But here's an important point. This isn't a one-time thing. To really see results, you need to cultivate these feelings of wealth consistently. Try to carry them with you throughout your day. When you're at work, feel as if you're already financially secure. When you're making purchases, feel the abundance of always having more than enough. This consistent feeling is what starts to shift your inner world, which in turn begins to shift your outer world. You might start to notice new opportunities for wealth. You might find yourself making better financial decisions without even trying. These are all signs that your new inner reality is starting to manifest in your outer world. Now that we understand the importance of feeling, let's talk about another crucial aspect of Goddard's teachings: persistence. Manifesting wealth isn't something that typically happens overnight. It requires consistent practice and unwavering belief, even when circumstances seem to contradict what you're trying to create. Goddard often compared this process to planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check on its progress. You trust that it's growing even if you can't see it yet. The same principle applies to manifesting wealth. You need to keep believing in your wealthy self even when things look tough on the outside. This can be challenging, especially when you're faced with bills to pay or financial setbacks. It's easy to fall back into old patterns of thinking and feeling poor. But this is exactly when persistence becomes most important. Goddard taught that we need to hold on to our new inner reality, regardless of what our current circumstances look like. Think of it like this. Imagine you're driving a car at night. Your headlights only illuminate a small part of the road ahead, but you trust that the rest of the road is there. You keep driving, knowing you'll reach your destination even if you can't see the whole route. Manifesting wealth works in a similar way. You might not be able to see the whole path to wealth right now, but you keep moving forward, trusting that it's unfolding before you. Persistence also means continuing your practices even when you don't see immediate results. Keep doing your nightly imagination exercises. Keep feeling those feelings of wealth throughout your day. It's like working out. You don't get fit after one trip to the gym. It takes consistent effort over time. But here's the good news. As you persist, you'll likely start to notice small changes. Maybe you'll have a lucky break at work. Maybe you'll find a great deal on something you need. Maybe you'll have an idea for a side business. These are all signs that your inner work is starting to pay off. Celebrate these small wins as they're evidence that your persistence is working. Remember, Goddard taught that there's often a time lag between our inner change and its outer manifestation. This delay is where many people give up, thinking it's not working. But if you can persist through this period, holding on to your inner knowing of wealth, that's when the biggest changes start to happen. As we work on manifesting wealth using Goddard's techniques, we often run into a significant challenge: our old beliefs about money. These beliefs can act like roadblocks, slowing down or even stopping our progress. That's why an important part of this process is identifying and letting go of these limiting beliefs. Many of us grow up hearing things like, "Money is the root of all evil," or "Rich people are greedy." Maybe we were told that it's noble to be poor or that we should be content with what we have. While some of these ideas might come from a good place, they can create subconscious resistance to wealth. Goddard taught that to truly manifest wealth, we need to examine these old beliefs and replace them with new, empowering ones. This isn't always easy. These beliefs often run deep and can be tied to our sense of identity or our values. But remember, wanting wealth doesn't make you a bad person. Money itself is neutral. It's how we use it that matters. Start by becoming aware of your current beliefs about money. Pay attention to your thoughts when you think about wealth. Do you feel excited or do you feel guilty? Do you believe that you deserve abundance or do you feel like you're not worthy of it? Write down any negative beliefs you notice. Once you've identified these beliefs, it's time to start changing them. This is where Goddard's imagination techniques come in handy. For each negative belief, create a positive alternative. For example, if you believe money is hard to get, you might replace it with wealth flows easily into my life. Then, use your imagination to really feel this new belief. Imagine situations where wealth is coming easily to you. Feel the joy and gratitude of this experience. The more you practice this, the more these new beliefs will start to feel natural and true. Remember, this is a process. You might not change your beliefs overnight, and that's okay. Be patient with yourself. Every time you catch an old, limiting belief popping up, gently remind yourself of your new, empowering belief. As you work on letting go of old beliefs and embracing new ones, you're creating space for wealth to enter your life. You're aligning your inner world with the abundance you want to experience in your outer world. And according to Goddard, this alignment is key to manifesting the wealth you desire. While Goddard's teachings focus heavily on the power of imagination and feeling, it's important to understand that this doesn't mean we should just sit around all day visualizing wealth. In fact, Goddard taught that when we change our inner world, we naturally start taking actions that lead to wealth. This is what we call inspired action. Inspired action is different from forced action or hustle. It's not about working harder or pushing yourself to do things you hate. Instead, it's about following the natural impulses and ideas that come to you as a result of your inner work. As you change your inner state to one of wealth and abundance, you might find yourself getting new ideas or feeling drawn to certain opportunities. For example, you might suddenly feel inspired to start a side business, or you might have an idea for a new product. You might feel compelled to reach out to someone who ends up becoming a valuable business contact. These inspirations are your inner changes starting to manifest in your outer world. The key is to pay attention to these inspirations and act on them when they come. Don't dismiss them as silly or impossible. Remember, according to Goddard, these impulses are coming from your new, wealthy inner state. They're guiding you towards the manifestation of your desires. But here's an important point. Inspired action should feel good. It might challenge you or push you out of your comfort zone, but it shouldn't feel like a constant struggle. If you find yourself constantly forcing yourself to do things you hate in the name of becoming wealthy, that's not inspired action. That's coming from a place of lack or fear. Also, inspired action doesn't always look like what we might expect. Sometimes it might be an impulse to rest or to spend time on a hobby. This might seem counterintuitive if you're trying to manifest wealth, but remember, the goal is to align with the feeling of being wealthy. And wealthy people often have time for rest and enjoyment. As you take these inspired actions, you're likely to see more and more evidence of wealth showing up in your life. You might find new opportunities opening up, or you might see your income starting to increase. These are all signs that your inner work is paying off. Remember, though, that inspired action is just that. Action. While Goddard's techniques are powerful, they work best when combined with practical steps in the physical world. So when you feel inspired to act, do it. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Trust that these inspirations are guiding you towards the wealth you desire. As you work on manifesting wealth using Goddard's techniques, you're likely to face some challenges along the way. This is normal and expected. In fact, Goddard taught that these challenges are often signs that change is happening. One common obstacle is doubt. As you're working on changing your inner state, you might have moments where you wonder if this is really working. You might look at your current financial situation and feel discouraged. This is where persistence becomes crucial. Remember, there's often a delay between your inner change and its outer manifestation. Keep going, even when you don't see immediate results. Another obstacle can be the reactions of others. As you start to change your relationship with money, you might find that some people in your life react negatively. They might not understand what you're doing or why. They might even try to discourage you. It's important to remember that their reactions are often about their own beliefs and fears, not about you. Stay focused on your own journey. Consistency can also be a challenge. It's easy to do these practices for a few days or weeks, but to see real results, you need to make them a part of your daily life. This doesn't mean you need to spend hours each day on visualization. Even just a few minutes of focused imagination and feeling before bed can be powerful if done consistently. One way to stay consistent is to tie your practice to something you already do every day. For example, you could do your wealth visualization right after brushing your teeth at night. This helps to make it a habit. It can also be helpful to keep track of your progress. Write down any signs of increased wealth or abundance that you notice, no matter how small. This could be finding a coin on the street, getting an unexpected refund, or having a great idea for a business. Seeing these small wins can help motivate you to keep going. Remember, manifesting wealth is not about perfection. You don't need to feel wealthy and abundant every single moment of every day. It's okay to have moments of doubt or fear. The key is to notice these moments and gently bring yourself back to your wealthy inner state. We've covered a lot of ground in exploring Neville Goddard's teachings on manifesting wealth, from understanding the power of imagination to the importance of feeling. From persistence to inspired action, we've delved into the key principles that Goddard taught could transform our financial lives. Remember, at its core, this practice is about changing your inner world. It's about creating a new relationship with wealth and abundance within yourself. As Goddard taught, when you change your inner world, your outer world naturally begins to reflect that change. This isn't about magical thinking or ignoring practical realities. It's about aligning your inner state with the wealth you desire and then taking inspired action from that state. It's about persistently holding on to that inner feeling of wealth, even when your current circumstances don't yet reflect it. As you move forward with these practices, be patient with yourself. Change doesn't usually happen overnight, but with consistent practice and persistence, you may start to see your financial reality transforming in ways you never thought possible. Remember, the power to create wealth is within you. It's in your imagination, in your ability to feel wealthy now, in your persistence, and in your willingness to take inspired action. Trust in this process, stay consistent, and be open to the abundance that may start flowing into your life. Neville Goddard's teachings offer a unique and powerful approach to creating wealth. By applying these principles, you're not just working towards having more money, you're transforming your entire relationship with abundance. And that, according to Goddard, is the real key to unlocking your power to manifest wealth. So are you ready to start this journey? Are you ready to use your imagination to feel the reality of wealth within you, to persist through challenges, and to take inspired action? If so, then you're on your way to unlocking your power to manifest wealth, just as Neville Goddard taught. The journey starts within you, right now. Embrace it, enjoy it, and watch as your inner wealth begins to manifest in your outer world.